Canyon. Chapter 2, A Stranger in the Canyon. Stepping softly in the sand, the burro sneaked behind the prospector and playfully butted him up from the crouching position. The old man spun around, his face lighting with joy. "Brighty," he shouted happily. "You little pussyfooter, you almost upset the batter, to say nothing of myself." He let the burro nuzzle his grizzly beard. "'Tain't hay," he howled with laughter. He laid more driftwood on the fire and then turned and began scratching Brighty, starting with the scruff of his mane and kneading down the dark stripe along his back. "Feller," he thundered above the river's roar, "you sure got an alarm clock in your head. Tan my hide if you don't arrive exactly at supper time. It's flapjacks tonight, see? Got the batter all done. Ain't it nice and bubbly?" The burro began nosing the batter. "Oh, no, you don't," the old man pushed the burro's face out of the bowl. "You just wait till they flap 'em. Me and you's got to celebrate tonight." He spooned lard into the skillet, and while it was melting, pulled some blue-flecked stones from his pocket and held them under Brighty's nose. "Sniff 'em," he urged. "Sniff 'em good. Where they come from, there's more. The whole bluish-green vein o' the stuff, and if I could just find somebody to help dig it up, then me and you could pack it on out." The burro's ears swung back and forth, asking for more talk. "Yup, Bright Angel, you and me struck it rich. We been found us enough copper ore to last till kingdom come and maybe after." He took off his black hat and let the wind comb his hair. "We'll call our diggins the Little Mimi for my sister's gal. It's like this, Brighty," he explained as he stooped to pick up the fallen blue jay's feather. "My kid sister had only the one gal, Mimi, and she's crippled in the legs." He stuck the feather in his hatband and smoothed it out. "Mimi's pretty as an angel, eyes blue as lupin, and curls the color of wood shavings. Now, Brighty," he said, his face shining with the plains, "with the money from the ore, we'll buy her a wheelchair so she can go scooting through like a little butterfly." He paused to add more lard to the skillet. "As for ye, young feller, when the money rolls in, I'll buy you all kinds of doodads. A tinkle bell for your neck, and a shade hat with holes for your ears, and some flea shoe powder, and..." Brighty wheeled around, looking, smelling, listening. "Hey, hark to me instead of the night noises. It's just the river sawing away at the rocks, or some old coyote tuning up." But the burro's ears were prying into the night, and his breath snorted in his nose. "Don't hear a thing myself," the old man poured the mounds of batter into the skillet. "Could be our ring-tailed cat sharpening her toenails on a piece of drift," he said. And then all at once the prospector caught movement. The tall figure of a man loomed in the dark. He stalked slowly toward the fire, a dead beaver dangling from one hand. "Reckon I skeered you," the man grunted. His voice sounded rusty, as if it hadn't been used in a long time. The prospector stroked the burro's neck, trying to quiet him. "Brighty here told me you were coming, but I didn't believe him." Motionless, except for his fingers twirling the beaver, the stranger sized up the prospector. Then his eyes looked past him to the tent, where a pick and a pan stood outlined against the white canvas. The sweet smell of hotcakes filled the air, and the old man dropped a third spoonful of batter in the skillet. "In the shock of seeing a human being," he said, "I might have near forgot to cook for 3 mouths instead of 2. Would you believe it, stranger? I ain't seen a living soul except Uncle Jimmy Owen and Brighty here for upward of 6 months. I'm mighty glad to see you." He waited for a "glad to meet you too." When none came, he went on, his hand still quieting Mr. Brighty. "My name's Hezekiah Appleyard, but don't nobody call me by that handle. What's yours?" The stranger moved in closer. The firelight made his small black eyes and black beard gleam, and it picked out the red kerchief around his neck and splashed red on his face. "Name's Irons," he said. "Jake Irons, beaver trapper." Now that's what I call a good, short, sensible handle, the old man replied. Folks call me old timer. When I first heard it, I looked around quick to see some old guys behind me. When I see they're referring to me, my hackles rose up. He faced around to the fire and turned the hissing flapjacks. I'm used to the label now. Fact is, I sort of like it. Makes me feel I'm a sure enough canyon man. The hard black eyes were on the cakes. You needn't just stand there gapping, Irons. Come on, sure, Chuck. I'll be kind of nice to listen to a man talk for a change, though. Brighty here's got a mighty sweet song for a burro. Don't mind if I do, the stranger smiled, but only with his lips. His black beard parted briefly, flashing 2 gold teeth, very shiny. The old man could not help admiring them. I come down here to the canyon seeking gold, he said, but I guess gold ain't the onlyest way to get rich. The pin eyes gave the prospector a sly glance. Then going over to a flat rock, Irons slapped down the beaver and took out his hunting knife. Go ahead, skin out your beaver, old timer said, but don't you flaunt the smell in front of Brighty. He don't like hot meat, nor meat of any kind for that matter. Jake Irons knelt in the sand and with nimble fingers skinned the beaver, setting aside the choice bits of meat. Before anyone could say scat, a ring-tailed cat leapt up on the rock and made off with the liver. Ain't she quick, though, the old man slapped a sigh in admiration. Her name's Wait a Minute, 'cause she never does. Oh, well, you still got the pelt, and that's what you're after. Muttering to himself, Jake Irons stretched the beaver, using stones to hold it in place. As he turned around, he almost bumped into Brighty, who stood with hindquarters hunched, threatening to let his heels fly. Reckon he's just a mite jealous about sharing his supper, the old man laughed. Leastwise, that's what I hope.